On a cold, windy night, the green and gold did not disappoint. The Bats awoke to a season-high tying 11 runs and became the first American League team to reach 10 wins. Tonight, A.J. Griffin will look to follow the footsteps of Tommy Milone and become the second pitcher on the staff to start the season 3-0. Coming up, the A's go for their 5th straight win versus the Astros this year, and it's coming up next. It is another chilly night at the O.co Coliseum as we get set for Game 2 of the series. Brad Peacock's going to pitch for the Astros. A.J. Griffin is going to pitch for the Athletics. And the A's offense has pounded the Astros so far this year. They'll try to do it again tonight. So it's the Astros and the Athletics coming up on Comcast Sportsnet Plus. Hi again, everybody. Welcome to Oakland A's Baseball. Along with Ray Fosse, I'm Glenn Kuiper. Indeed, the A's offense has really took it to the Astros. They've scored 34 runs so far in just 4 games, and Ray showed up last night again with the 11 runs.
You know, but it started in Houston. I think that was a great thing because there were some guys struggling, but sometimes you get it a little bit healthy in certain parks, and I think the A's did that in Houston. Coco Crisp started that consecutive run of 4 home runs, and, of course, it all started in Houston. And how about Seth Smith? He did a great job. He was swinging the long ball, hitting the long ball as well as opposite field home runs, which worked out great for him. Plus, he can dance. That's not better on second base. Chris Young, who has been outstanding for the A's, that also started in Houston for the A's outfielder, who's getting a chance to play a lot. And how about the former Astro Jed Lowry last night after striking out the first inning, 4 ribbies. And that was a big night for him as well, as he, like everybody, wearing the number 42. Worked out well for everybody last night.
A.J. Griffin making his 3rd start. He's pitched very well, and he's won both of his first 2 starts.
You know, he's very aggressive. It's always great when A.J. takes the mound because you know he's going to be aggressive. You go back to last June against the Giants when he pitched very well in that game. But he has a great curveball. He mixes his pitches. But I think the infielders, the outfielders really love the fact he gets the ball and he throws to not waste any time. And I think that's a plus for him. In addition to every pitch he throws is a quality pitch, as you just see the curveball that he is able to throw and pitch effectively.
So the A's won last night 11-2. They'll try to make it 2 in a row tonight in this series over the Houston Astros. Well, lineups at first pitch when we come back to the Coliseum. Another chilly night and a Major League debut for that young man, Shane Peterson. We'll be back.
is brought to you by Jack in the Box. The Chipotle Chicken Club Combo is back for a limited time at Jack in the Box. Try one today with fries and a drink for just $4.99 plus tax.
A.J. Griffin and the Athletics take the field in the all-whites tonight as we are getting close to first pitch, game 2 of the 3-game series between the Athletics and the Astros. Let's check the game time weather presented by the Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk. The admission-free boardwalk is open this weekend. Another cool night. Not quite as windy as last night, but still chilly. And you see the American flag at half-staff tonight. Yep. In honor of the ones we've lost in Boston. So let's look at the starting lineup for the Houston Astros tonight. A lot like last night. Jose Altuve, Justin Maxwell, Jason Castro, Chris Carter to DH, Carlos Pena, JD Martinez, Ricky Ankiel is in there tonight. He's in right field. Then Matt Dominguez and Marwin Gonzalez is the shortstop.
A.J. Griffin pitching for the Athletics as he looks to pick up his 3rd win. A very impressive sub-2 earned run average. He is pitching very effectively, and he has stepped into the role as he did in June last season and continued in his 2013 season. And up pitch against the Astros down there as he made the start against the Seattle Mariners here on the Thursday afternoon and won the game to get the A's started on that long winning streak.
Here's the defense for the Athletics. Smith in left, Young in center, Reddick in right, Donaldson, Lowry, Sogard, and Shane Peterson. That's a major league debut, folks, for the first baseman. And John Jasu is the catcher. So there's a good look at Shane Peterson. The reason he is here is Brandon Moss is on paternity leave. So, big night for Shane Peterson. Griffin kicks. And the first pitch to Jose Altuve is low. So we're underway from the Coliseum. A's won last night 11-2. Scoring 6 in the first and kind of breezing through the rest of the game. So A.J. Griffin trying to go to 3-0. Tommy Malone won last night. He is 3-0. Fastball well inside, and it's 3-0. So there's the move. Brandon Moss will miss today and tomorrow.
Shane Peterson kind of in the mold of Brandon Moss. He played outfield pretty much all spring. He had 2 innings during spring training. Played a couple of games at AAA, and here he is in his major league debut at a position that he's really not that familiar with. But that's all right. He's happy to be here.
Yes, he is. So 3-2. And it's a walk to the leadoff man here in the first inning.
Threw all fastballs, and A.J. Griffin likes to mix his pitches, but he fell behind Altuve with the first 3 fastballs. And
batting in the second position.
Well, that is why Brandon Moss is on paternity leave. He's a father for the second time. Brody Dylan Moss, born this afternoon. So congratulations to Brandon and his wife Allison. So he's going to enjoy himself for a couple days and then get back to work.
And Jaden, their first son, was born in 09 in October, so he's approaching 4, so that's a nice little age difference between the 2. And so Brody will have a nice big brother to help him along and then beat him up eventually.
Yes, he will.
You got to watch out for that. Take care of your little brother, because when little brother gets bigger, little brother remembers everything that big brother did. That's right. That's what I keep telling my grandsons.
Now the paternity leave, you must remain on paternity leave at least 1 day, but no more than 3 days.
Which is perfect.
Which is exactly with the off day on Thursday. Moss will more than likely fly with the team to St. Petersburg on Thursday.
And he could take the red eye late, you know, but it's an all-night flight. Plus, you're losing the 3 hours going back to the farthest team in the Southeast. American League anyway.
Line drive. And getting back is Altuve. So Donaldson grabs it. Sounds like maybe a broken bat line drive.
And Altuve, I think really Josh Donaldson just showing off his strong arm, maybe loosening up a little bit. Ball was not hit that hard, and Donaldson handled it perfectly. Altuve, as good base runners will do, started, realized the line drive was in front of him, and had to make sure the ball landed without being doubled off. And Maxwell just threw the bat in the stands. I guess it broke it badly enough he can't reuse it, or he's upset that that's all he got out of the use of the bat.
So 1 out, and here's Jason Castro, the catcher.
Jeff Bagwell got Maxwell's bat. Jeff Bagwell's put on some.
He's got his batting gloves on too.
He does. He's ready. I mean, he's front row. Bob Uecker.
Foul back.
I like the attitude that A.J. Griffin has. And again, we talk about the Astros, and sure, they're an up-and-coming young team. But the amazing thing and the great thing about a young pitcher, they do not take anybody lightly. He'll pitch against the Astros like he will against any other team that he faces throughout the 34, 35 starts of the season. And that man, Curt Young, we wish him a happy birthday on this special day. And he said no better place to spend your birthday than at the park on a game. So Curt Young, happy birthday. And born on the same day as Brody was.
That's right. 2-1 to Castro. Castro was 1 for 4. Altuve takes off. The throw is there, and he's out. So Shane Patterson made a nice throw, and that's out number 2.
Well, the big lead that Altuve had, he was telling everybody he was going to be leaving in just a little bit too soon. And what a nice throw by Peterson to shortstop Jed Lowry. And, you know, that's a big lead, and he left early. And fortunately, the throw right on the bag, because it took a good throw from Peterson to be able to get the runner at second. So a nice caught stealing.
High fastball, swing and a miss.
Yeah, you have to wonder too, and maybe Altuve felt that Griffin, who when Jaso gets a sign from the dugout that maybe he was not going to be throwing over, and that's why he got the huge lead in the early jump, and he's talking about it on the bench.
Strike 3 called, inside corner with a fastball. Leadoff walk does no damage against A.J. Griffin. Nice pitch to end the top of the first. Check out their lineup. Coco Crisp is going to lead off. He'll DH tonight. The Jaso, Smith, Lowry, Young, Reddick, Donaldson, Peterson, and Sogar.
He was involved in the big trade. Brad Peacock to the Houston Astros as the A's acquired Jed Lowry, and one start made against the Athletics in Houston.
it seemed he threw a lot of pitches, and as a result had to leave in the 5th inning, and that's when it all fell apart. He gave up just a couple of runs. He did walk 3, struck out 5. Fastball low 90s with a curveball and a change-up, that is.
Martinez, Maxwell, and Keel in the outfield for the Astros. Dominguez, Gonzalez, Altuve, Pena around the infield with Castro doing the catching. Strong look tonight.
Is that a mask or is that paint?
Spent some time on that one.
Is it a mask or painted? It looked like his eyes are really recessed, almost like a mask. I hope it's a mask that we can wear it a long time, or a lot of different times, instead of just once. Take off the paint.
It's one way to look at it.
Oh, you have to figure it out somehow.
Coco DHing tonight. He missed a couple of games with a little bit of a strained left groin, but the way he was running around last night, it did not seem to be bothering him. He was motoring around the bases.
Well, it's nice he's DHing tonight, day game after this game. Well, a hanging curveball for Coco Crisp in Houston on the leadoff home run.
And it was against Brad Peacock. That start by Peacock, 4 1/3, as Ray mentioned. But Peacock got a win in his last start. It was Wednesday in Seattle. He went 5 innings. That one tapped toward Altuve, and that's out number 1. So that leadoff home run in Houston was his 7th as a member of the Athletics. He's got a little work to do to get to Ricky Henderson.
He needs to catch Campy at 10. And then Ricky, that might be a record that's never broken. That's a lot of home runs.
That's probably not going to be broken. You're right.
A lot of home runs.
First pitch to Jaso, a little bit up and out.
Well, it seems Bob Melvin, the A's skipper, has kind of positioned his catchers in the number 2 spot in the batting order. Saw Derek Norris last night, although Josh Reddick got the night off. That Seth Smith hitting 3rd tonight with Reddick down in the 6th spot. But Bob Melvin's the master at positioning guys in the lineup to succeed. And they seem to all come through wherever he puts them.
So 3-0 to Jaso with Seth Smith waiting in the on-deck circle. A's come in with a record of 10-4. 4-4 at home and 6-0 on the road. They also continue to have the best record in the American League and the 2nd best record in all of the major leagues, behind the smoking hot Atlanta Braves. Braves won again tonight, and they are 12-1, and they've won 10 in a row.
And they may be feeling just like the 2002 A's, that they'll never lose. And they're halfway to the A's 20-game win streak.
There's nothing else, feeling like the '84 Tigers.
Well, I was just going to say 35-5 is a great way to start and go wire to wire.
Jaso toward left center. He hit it well, but Maxwell was played well, and I mean well, into left center field.
Yeah.
That ball was headed right for the gap, but Maxwell was there. That's the Budweiser bow tie bar. It's new for this year. If you're looking for it, go to section 129, and it's right there. So purchase a jersey if you want. You can do a number of different things in there. It's the Budweiser bow tie bar. Again, it's behind section 129.
That would be behind about the A's bullpen. 121 directly behind the A's dugout, and then out to 129. So approaching.
That's right. Head down the left field line.
That's right. Looks like a nice place to visit.
Sure. Watch the game, have a cocktail.
Not necessarily in that order, right?
Not necessarily at all. 448 the average for Seth Smith. So a nice start for Smith. He's got a homer and 6 RBIs. hitting in the third spot tonight. And he got jammed a little bit toward Ankiel in right center, and he makes the catch. Side retired. So Brad Peacock has a 3-up, 3-down inning, and we are scoreless after 1. Is he uptight, Ray, the day he started?
No, never is.
Or is he relaxed?
I think relaxed. We'll find out.
Let's find out.
It's not as cold today, man. It's good. It was chilly last night, man. I'll take it better way. I'm doing good.
All right, there's your answer.
That's a Southern California
He's
native.
Cool. He's cool as cool can be. A.J. Griffin, as we've got to know him, a very nice young man, and he's not afraid to come up and say, "Hey, how you doing?" Which is, it's kind of nice.
He's a nice young man, and his parents were down in Anaheim, got off the elevator, and they were talking to A.J. outside the elevator right in front of the clubhouse, and A.J. made a comment and heard his mother say, "Arthur." So it wasn't A.J., it was Arthur.
So he's heard that a few times in his life.
Well, in the way his mother said it,
Arthur.
It wasn't a, yeah.
So if he gives up a home run at some point this year, Arthur. Doggone it. Hanging curveballs, Arthur.
Right now he's trying to establish a fastball, and maybe he should start throwing some curveballs because the fastball is not working that effectively for him. And when you start walking batters, especially aggressive hitters, then you know the fastball so far off the plate they're not willing to offer at it.
So second inning in a row, we have a leadoff walk, and Griffin's a guy who is a strike thrower, so that's a little strange. So here's Carlos Pena. Pena was 2 for 4 last night with an RBI single.
A little surprising that A.J. Griffin has not gone to another pitch, because when one pitch is not working and you have other pitches to use, you don't just stay with the one pitch that's not working for you.
Missed again.
So C.J. Wilson doing it in Anaheim the road trip, and he just kept staying with a fastball and kept shaking off his catcher, tried to call some breaking pitches, and they shook him off.
Missed again with a fastball, and now it's 3-0. And I would believe it's alarming for a control pitcher when they are having trouble throwing strikes because they're not used to it.
Yeah, it is frustrating. It's about mechanics, and Just the feeling good about the pitches that he's making. And the pickoff in the first inning helped him. Otherwise, he's thrown twice as many pitches out of the strike zone. Carlos might be swinging 3 now.
And it's just a touch high, and it's a 4-pitch walk. Some of the action from last night, which was a good win for the Athletics, but boy, it was cold, folks. It was.
Did you say a good wind?
A good wind, but it was very breezy. Ray, you've been here a long time, and is that as cold as you felt?
Yeah, that's
chilly.
There's a player, a broadcaster, and you know when you have to put the heavy jacket on, as soon as first pitch, you know it's cold.
It's cold tonight too. It's just not quite so breezy. But the outfielders and the infielders all struggled with pop-ups, which that'll tell you just how breezy.
14, J.D. Martinez.
So right now, Griffin trying to figure it out. He's walked Carter. He's walked Pena. 2 on, nobody out for J.D. Martinez. And that one misses inside. And he continues to miss with the fastball.
Kurt Young went out to visit, and of course, maybe Kurt detected something that AJ was doing incorrectly. That's a strike, but the problem is you stay with the pitch, the one pitch, the fastball. Now that he's throwing a strike, now the hitters are waiting. They're going to be looking for the fastball. And if you throw a 4-seam fastball down the middle, that's when you can get burnt as well.
So now the count 1-2. Griffin has walked 3 already in this game. He walked a total of 3 in his first 2 starts. 2 against the Mariners and just 1 against the Angels on Thursday night. Curveball, and Maxwell was able to lay off, or J.D. Martinez, excuse me. He had a notion to swing at it, but held up.
Well, they started at location with a curveball at a couple strikes, and to the point that the hitter could see it as a strike, but was able to stop his swing in enough time.
High fastball.
Last year, A.J. Griffin had 3 games in which he did not walk a batter. The most he had in any one game was 3. That was at Yankee Stadium. That was in September the 23rd.
Carter at second, Pena at first, and that one's line foul as Martinez was way out in front. So 29 pitches already. Griffin working hard here in the second inning. Popped up. Smith in left field is coming in and over. He's got it. So Martinez is retired. That's the first out here in the second inning.
And that was back-to-back curveballs. And he has a great curveball. And we've shown that the curveball, which he throws it with just the middle finger, which is very hard if you think about trying to throw any type of a pitch, just one finger. But a curveball is very good for him.
So here's Ankiel. Ankiel with a couple of home runs. He's got 8 RBIs, so he leads the Astros in home runs. He's 4 for 23. Remember on opening night against the Texas Rangers, he had a pinch hit 3-run homer. But when we saw him in Houston, he was just swinging and missing every at bat.
Well, questioning the second strike and looking back to Bruce Dreckman.
0-2 pitch, fastball high. There they are. Bruce Dreckman calling balls and strikes. Your crew chief is Gary Darling. He's out near second base. And Keel swings and misses. Ball just squirts away from Jaso. That's going to allow both runners to move up. But it is a strikeout, second strikeout for Griffin.
It's a base running by both Carter and Pena as the ball hit the dirt, scooted away from John J. So. No hesitation by either runner and to advance, but Ankiel way out in front, missing badly the curveball thrown by Griffin. So he's gotten 2 outs in this inning, both on the curveball, the fly ball to left field, and the swing and miss by Rick Ankiel.
Here's Matt Dominguez. Dominguez was 0 for 4 last night. Good curveball there. Snaps in there.
Yeah, I think a lot of hitters are not accustomed to seeing this type of a curveball right over the top, and the Uncle Charlie 12-6 with the rotation, and a lot of times they will take the pitch.
That one cued toward the second baseman Sogard, and Griffin gets out of it. He walks the first 2 in the inning, but no damage done. Thank you very much. Bottom of the second coming up. AL slugging percentage leaders. The A's are second, just behind the New York Yankees. So the Yankees, even with all their injuries, are actually playing pretty good baseball.
And you don't expect anything else from the Yankees. They are the Yankees, and not surprising, they will make the best. And that's why you always hear, in the case Joe Girardi, the manager of the Yankees, with all the injuries, remember they have $92 million on the disabled list. Yep. But he says we deal with what we have, and A.J. Griffin is dealing with what he has right now, and that is getting through 2 innings and starting to pick up where at the beginning of this game has not had much for this fastball, but he's back in the dugout. He's in his club and score some runs.
First pitch to Lowry, shows bunt, takes a strike. The A's lead the majors in runs, doubles, walks, and extra base hits. It's not just the American League, that's the major leagues. Lowry a big part of that, hitting .385 with 3 homers, 12 RBIs. Probably not thrilled about that pitch.
With the double ear flap, he can turn away or turn in.
He's covered either way.
He's protected, and that's the great thing about the double ear flap. I admire players, in the case of Jed Lowry, that will, at this level, Major League Baseball, wear the double ear flap. It's required, demanded in the minor leagues, but Jed said once he got over that, everything was fine. Wear one helmet.
Because there are players, they'll never ever admit it, but what they will say to themselves is, it looks like a minor leaguer.
That's right.
Am I right?
And Jed Lowry pretty much said that, you know. But the bottom line, he said, I don't want to be switching helmets all the time.
Got to have 2 helmets all the time.
You know, Steve Usnich likes it to carry just 1 helmet, especially when he takes off on a road trip.
1-2 pitch is just a touch low.
But I still think the double ear flap, if you think about base runners sliding in, head first slide, or just sliding in general, running the bases, you're protected on both sides. Because if you are wearing just an ear flap, one ear flap, one side of your head's exposed. And you want as much protection as possible, especially with these new helmets that are the 100s that will stand a 100-mile-an-hour fastball.
So if you are a right-handed hitter, so you got the ear flap on your left ear, you think about being at first base and diving head first back in on a pickoff.
That's right.
Your right ear is completely exposed. And that happens sometimes. You see a guy get hit in the head or in the shoulder or on a pickoff attempt.
About a head first dive into second base on a double and a guy thrown from right field.
There you go. That one's hit well to right center. Long run for Ankiel and Maxwell, and it's going to be Ankiel who gets there. Ball was up in the air, kind of just hung up there and gave Ankiel plenty of time. Maxwell was again shaded way over toward left center.
With this wind blowing, do not try to go up too high with the fly ball. Jed Lowry, he's upset. He knew he got it too much in the air, just missed it, got under it, and good hitters realize that.
Chris Young.
Type.
Yes.
I want to say hello to the new Mr. and Mrs. Scott Dempsey. Can't call her Lindsay Fossey anymore.
No.
It's Lindsay Dempsey. They are watching our telecast from down in Arizona, back from the honeymoon after a beautiful wedding on April the 5th. And now the new Mr. and Mrs. Dempsey.
Congratulations.
Well, to them, for sure. Had a nice honeymoon.
Where'd they go?
It's someplace that I know I didn't go.
If you can't pronounce it, it's probably really beautiful.
It was a very nice, beautiful island, and how times have changed.
Yeah.
But they
Good.
deserved
That's
it. They had a great time, and now back in the Scottsdale area and enjoy life as a husband and wife.
Hope he likes baseball.
Oh, he does.
All right, good.
He does. He's maybe a White Sox fan a little bit, but we're convincing him. I know Lindsay doing her best to convince him to be an A's fan.
Well, if he's a Hawk fan,
well, yeah,
Hawk Harrelson, then he's good with us.
Well, his dad really likes Hawk. I think I remember that.
We love Hawk.
Yeah, Hawk is a good man.
Hawk's the best.
But they're A's fans now, especially if Lindsay's in the mix. They're A's fans.
1-2 to Young, and a pretty good pitch. Strike 3 called. So Brad Peacock has retired 5 straight. So he's much sharper than he was against the A's in Houston.
Well, he's throwing strikes, and just looking at that game and saw the number of pitches he threw early, something like 89 in just 4 and a third innings. And brought in Cedeno, as you mentioned last night. He couldn't get anybody out in the 5th inning. The A's scored the 7 runs. But Brad Peacock, and I think of Jeremy Bonderman. Remember, he was traded away, went to the Tigers. Every time he pitched against the A's, he was emphatic. He wanted to beat the A's. And maybe Brad Peacock wants to do the same here in Oakland.
So here's Reddick.
Josh Reddick, who played for the Red Sox and, of course, traded the Athletics. The A's fortunate to have him last season. He is kind of representing, I think, and showing his support for the tragic event that occurred yesterday. He's wearing armband that says Boston Strong. Boston on one black wristband, and there it is, Boston Strong. So that's not surprising. Josh Reddick thinking about the folks back in the city in which he played and really enjoyed his time there, but even more happier to be right here playing for the Athletics, and we're happy to have him.
2-1 the count to Reddick. This one's popped up. Foul territory, but playable for Dominguez, and he's got it. 6 up, 6 down for Brad Peacock, and we're scoreless after 2 in Oakland.
fields for the 2013 baseball and softball season. Stencil Field in San Leandro and Centennial Park in Hayward have been refurbished as part of the Energize Your Field program. To have your field refurbished, go online to oaklandathletics.com/energize your field.
Third inning, Marwin Gonzalez, switch hitting shortstop. It'll be followed by the top of the order, Altuve and Maxwell. Interesting beginning of the game for A.J. Griffin. He's walked 3, but he's been able to escape damage. Pitch there. 2-1 to Gonzalez. 8 hits and 24 at bats with a couple of home runs for Marwin Gonzalez. Not a big guy. Coming back is Jaso. That's going to be into the seats.
What if he has one inside his jacket like the guy last night?
Two and two the count. Another pop-up and another one headed for the seats.
Kuiper, speaking of balls into the seats, last night Nate Fryman hit one deep into left field and first major league home run. Happy to report, talked to Steve Vucinich, and I said, Vuce, what did the fan ask for? He said the fan just came down and said, I'm proud to have caught Nate Fryman's first major league home run. All I would like would be an autographed baseball from that Nate Fryman.
And this one is going to go to the wall, and Gonzalez is going to have a leadoff double. So right back into the stretch is A.J. Griffin. It's been one of those nights so far.
And that was a pitch right down the middle, trying to establish the number one, the fastball, and that's a hittable pitch, especially with 2 strikes. And for a hitter to have as aggressive a swing as Gonzalez did on a 2-2 fastball, that says a lot about his swing, but also the location of the pitch, which is exactly the opposite of where Griffin wanted to throw it.
So that's the first hit in the game, and it's a Marwin Gonzalez double. Here's Altuve, and that's a little flare, and that's going to get down for a hit. Reddick plays it. They're going to hold up Gonzalez. Reddick comes up throwing. So first and third. Nobody out. A little reputation right there.
Altuve was not wasting any time. Got the fastball inside out to move the runner over to third base. Got the soft base hit to right field. But A.J. Griffin tried to quick pitch him and tried maybe to sneak a fastball by him. But Altuve was ready and did exactly what I'm sure Bo Porter was hopeful that he would do, and at least advance the runner, and he himself ends up getting a hit.
Here's Maxwell, who hit a soft line drive to Donaldson in the first. Curve stays high. I don't know.
Yeah, that's
he did the right thing.
There's no reason. I mean, nobody out. You don't want to get doubled off second. You don't want to try to run through a stop sign to score a run.
Swing and a miss. Waved at by Maxwell. 1-1.
Well, AJ knows he's capable of doing one thing, something he really needs badly now, and that's the strikeout. And so if you could get one and then the double play, that's the best case scenario. He's already got a couple in the game.
Just missed inside. Castro will be next, left-handed hitter. Pitch number 48 already coming from Griffin. And the curve is hit into left field, the base hit. That one just kind of hung up there. And Maxwell swung at it like that's what he was looking for.
Well,
so 1-0.
Especially with the hang in his eyes that one did. And when you flirt with danger, it's eventually going to catch up. And you said it best, AJ, in the first inning, first 2 innings, struggled. Base runners got out of it, but a couple of hits, and then this hanging curveball after Maxwell missed the curveball badly. A pitch away from him, but not that one.
So here's Castro. Maxwell gets his 5th RBI.
Now AJ has to stop the bleeding. Got to avoid a big inning.
And the first pitch is low. Castro struck out looking to end the first inning. He's got 1 home run on the year, and that was against the Athletics. He dropped one into the Crawford boxes in Houston. Strike. Castro thought it was outside.
Boxes extend or protrude over the outfield. Very inviting, I guess.
Boy, A's took advantage of it a couple times. Here's your runners, Altuve and Maxwell. Lots of speed. So I went to the A's game as an A. There was a lot of time spent on that outfit. Give him lots of credit.
How did he get it in the stadium?
I can see him sitting out there in deep right center field.
So could Tommy Edson.
I don't know if he's sitting down, though. It looks like he just made me stand
I
up
think
the
he's
whole
propped up against one of the suites. And I guess the people in those suites, or there's nobody there. Fortunately, they're not, because they wouldn't be able to see anyone.
There he is. He's got big hands for an A, doesn't he? Smith going back. Altuve's going to tag up, and he's going to try for third. Smith's throw is there, but it scoots by Donaldson, and both the runners are going to end up moving up.
Seth Smith knows that the best thing to do is to throw to second base, because once the throw went to third, the trailing runner was going to follow, and that was Maxwell. And there, at that point, strong throw, but just not enough time. And as a result, 2 runners now in the scoring position instead of the possibility of a double play with Chris Carter up. Carter now with first base open and a couple of runners in scoring position. A little bit different situation for A.J. Griffin.
So Chris Carter is the hitter. There's 1 out. So the birthday boy heads back to the dugout.
Now batting, number 23.
You got a pretty good idea how old Kurt is, but out of respect for Kurt, we're just not going to say his age.
Exactly.
There's no reason for that.
Well, he played in the '89 World Series, so we know he's at least 33.
How old was he in 1989, Ray?
Just born like Brody today, huh?
Could figure it out, but we're not going to do that, Kurt.
No, just happy birthday,
young
Kurt.
man.
He's where he wants to be at the yard.
So 1-1 to Carter. Carter walked leading off the second. He's got an RBI opportunity. Shift is on. Sogard playing over behind second base. Heard for a strike. Carter saw it, just couldn't pull the trigger.
Excellent curveball and right over the top, 12-6, and I think until 2 strikes, some hitters just will not swing at the curveball. Now he has to. He gets
to Young, and it's going to get down for a base hit. Altuve's going to score. Maxwell will head to third, and Carter waited on that one, and he's got an RBI single, and the Astros lead 2-0.
Well, unfortunately, A.J. Griffin is not consistent with his curveball. He throws one good one, as he did to Maxwell, gets a swing and miss, then he hangs one for a base hit. Same with Chris Carter, and this was a hanger. And he waited, but perhaps seeing the previous one and the spin that he took, just it's unfortunate that the sharpness of the curveball is not there.
So 4 hits in this inning, and still only 1 out. Here's Pena. There's a runner at third. There's a runner at first. Pena lays off a changeup. Griffin trying a first pitch changeup. 58 pitches with 1 out in the 3rd. And he follows it up with another changeup. That time Pena went after it, probably thinking he's not going to back it up with another one, and he did. Hard ground ball right at somebody would be a good thing for Griffin at this point. Very strange seeing A.J. Griffin struggle with his control. We're just not used to it.
Second half of last season, very rarely saw it. So maybe the game 162.
Yeah.
He wasn't that sharp. That Evan Scribner came in, did a great job.
2-2 now to Pena, who walked in the 2nd inning.
Great curveball. Just see now if he tries to throw it again, or should it go to the changeups and that sink away from the left-hander. Forcing fastball grip.
Pena slowed his bat down and just got a piece of it.
Curveball, and
Pena doesn't protect a lot, but he did there.
we're seeing a lot of back-to-back pitches, whether it be a changeup, curveball, fastballs from A.J.
Good take by Pena, and now a full count. See if Carter moves at first. That's the on-deck hitter, J.D. Martinez.
I think a good changeup right now would be a good pitch. Just throw the. Carter's got to be looking fastball. Of course, all he's trying to do is get a ball airborne deep enough to score the runner from 3rd. But changeup might get a strike him out, throw him out.
And he went with a fastball, and he missed low, and the bases are loaded. So that is 4 walks by A.J. Griffin, and Skipper's contemplating what to do here.
J.D. Martinez.
Well, the one thing that he is doing is saying, what the heck is going on? I've never seen this before.
That's what we're saying.
Yeah.
Here's J.D. Martinez. Still only 2-0. If he can wiggle his way out of this jam, it would make a whole bunch of difference. Swing and a miss. Martinez missed a fastball. That may be the best pitch he gets to hit. Eric Bedard could be thinking about his first inning, or he may want to just forget about it. I would forget about it if I were him.
I think he already has.
Fastball right there, strike 2 called. Watch where this pitch
Well,
is.
back-to-back fastballs, and Kai, you said it best. The first one might have been the best, but the second was pretty close to the best.
2 fastballs right down the heart. Another fastball just a touch low.
Maybe you'd seen all the changeups and curveballs that A.J. had been throwing, and sitting on one of those for the first 2 batters.
Maxwell, Carter, Pena are the runners. Curve, and he laid off, and it dropped low.
Well, it's not that bad of a pitch, but as it started down, it just kept going down and near the ground.
That one stays inside, and a full count. So a 1-2 curve and a 2-2 curve. Payoff pitch with the bases loaded. Fastball struck him out swinging. So Martinez had some pitches to hit, but could not do it.
But evidently, John Jaso wanted to have him throw something else because he shook.
Now batting.
And maybe shook
Number
to the
28,
fastball, although there are times a
Rick
catcher will
Anfield.
ask his pitcher to shake his head just to get the hitter to think a little bit. but maybe John Jaso wanted to go soft with something, but AJ said, I'm going to challenge him, and he did.
Shot, diving play by Peterson.
Wow.
And that's how the inning ends.
I'd save 2, maybe 3.
What a play. So 2 runs scored, could have been a lot worse. Check out the play by Shane Peterson.
It's time now for the Ford right choice, and for Shane Peterson, an outfielder playing first base, and he just saved at least a couple of runs, maybe more, but a great play for someone, again, who has not played a lot at first and hasn't even been to the plate as a hitter yet, and sees these guys a couple of at-bats and robbed Rick Ankiel of extra bases with a tremendous play. And A.J. Griffin, as much as A.J. is struggling, not surprised. Could see that, but now the A's, after that save, try to get on the board against Brad Peacock.
Donaldson, Peterson, Sogard here in the bottom of the 3rd. Peacock has retired the first 6 with 1 strikeout. Good changeup there, 81 miles per hour. Donaldson had a hit and a run scored last night. 11 hits in his last 29 at bats. That covers the last 7 games for Donaldson. So there's the fastball. See if fastball outside on 0-2 sets up something else on 1-2. Drops low.
Well, one thing for sure, you can see why the A's like this arm for Brad Peacock, and also why Bo Porter and the Astros are willing to give up Jed Lowry, a very good hitter, a good shortstop, to acquire Brad Peacock from the A's, along with Chris Carter and Max Stassi.
Donaldson's average overall .259 with a couple of home runs. Strike 3 called on a fastball that looked like it may have been outside.
And maybe a little bit up as well. And outside corner is Castro with a target. I think the fact that he had to go up the way he did, the height might have been as much as a concern, although it's a stride about belt high, and a question about a pitch from Josh Donaldson. He has a pretty good eye.
So Shane Peterson, major league debut at the plate. We've seen him in the field, and the first pitch he sees is a breaking ball for a strike. He was having a terrific season in Sacramento. And what he did, Ray, is he opened eyes
in spring training. Yes, he did. Well, he knew as much as he was playing the outfield that he was not going to make the club, simply because the A's had 5 major league outfielders who were going to break with the club. But he did not disappoint anybody. Fastball from Peacock, just no contact there.
And a breaking ball, swing and a miss. So first major league at bat for Shane Peterson ends with a strikeout.
Come on, throw him fastballs. Jeez, threw him 2 hooks. Peacock has a good
Running
one
in the ninth
over the
position.
top, and Shane Peterson can just remember a great diving catch to save at least a couple of runs instead of having a huge crooked number. Instead, his great play defensively saved a couple and makes the game still manageable for A.J. Griffin.
2 outs for Sogard. Sogard hitting .235 with 1 RBI. He's 8 for 34. Fouls it straight back. Eight up, 8 down for Peacock. Completely different pitcher than we saw in Houston. I guess that's the case with the young pitcher, right, Ray? Making just his 5th major league start.
He was traded so late. Okay, he's in the A's media.
I know. I was just looking for him, and
don't have to look far. Just open your Oakland A's guide, and he's right there. It was a late trade. Mike Selleck does a great job of putting together the media guide, and already had Brad Peacock.
Right center, and nobody's going to get this one. Bounces off the wall. Sogard rounding second, and he will make it to third with a head-first slide. 2-out triple for Sogard.
Adam Rosales likes it, and boy, so does Eric Sogard. The defense again with the center fielder Maxwell playing way over in left center. He robbed John Jaso, but look at this gap. He drive 30 Mack trucks through that, and Eric Sogard split it, thinking triple all the way. Once he saw the ball was headed into that alley, he knew he was going to have an easy triple. His speed, good speed. He's watching the ball all the way. Did not need to pick up Mike Gallego. And just for the sake of a slide, went head first, and nice bit of running, nice piece of hitting.
So the A's need a 2-out hit from Coco Crisp to get themselves on the board. Coco lofts one down the right field line. Ankiel on the move into foul territory, and he cannot get it.
That ball's not going to move. Coco just a little quick out in front on the pitch. Otherwise, might have had the distance, but the changeup, he was too quick and did not hit it on the sweet part of the bat. That's a great effort by an outfielder, and he knows the wall is approaching and it's not going to move. Not a lot of foul territory down either corner.
Coco bounced out to Altuve, the second baseman, in the first inning.
I always have to wonder whether a pitcher will eliminate a good curveball that Peacock is able to throw because the fear of bouncing ball. That's why the triple is important for Sogard to get to third base. And from Coco's standpoint, maybe he can just look fastball changeup, eliminate the curveball. Or if he throws the curve, maybe he'll leave it a little bit up, hang it, and be able to hit it.
0-2 pitch. A fastball is low. Outfield again, shaded into left center with Maxwell, so he just plays there every hitter.
Or expects Peacock to pitch every left-hander away, and they're going to hit the ball to the opposite field.
Changeup floats outside, so Coco's even it up at 2-2. Coco last night 1 for 3 with a double, a couple of walks, and a run score. Fastball outside again.
Crappy's not throwing him a curveball in this at bat. Nope. Fastball, changeup. First pitch fastball. The fourth pitch was a changeup.
Coco's ready, so is Peacock. 3-2 pitch. Fastball, foul back. Talked about how well Coco was running last night after missing the 2 games with the sore groin. He's motoring.
You think about running straight is fine. And that's when Mike Gallego held him up and he grabbed the left groin a little bit. So as a result, DHing tonight.
Sometimes when you stop, that's when it
accelerate. Yes, exactly.
Starting and stopping.
How was that tough time accelerating? Accelerating was never a problem for Coco. He's too fast.
Fouled again.
As a hitter, you just have to believe that you're not going to get anything but a fastball, maybe a changeup, and that's what has happened in the at bat. Brad Peacock has a very, very good curveball, 12-6, but it's a sharp biting curveball, and I guess maybe the concern is might spike it. Throw it in the dirt, and Staff has confidence in the catcher that he can block anything that's thrown. Throws a curveball to fool the world. Shaking a lot, something.
A fastball, and it misses way high, and Coco has a great at bat. He gets the walk.
Dunham's geared fastball. Peacock stayed away, and there's the aggressive attempt, but he held back.
So runners at the corners for Jaso.
Where do you think Maxwell's playing?
Left center. I'm telling you. In Houston, there's a spot where a guy plays, and in center field, it's left center field.
Yeah. Well, Peacock better stay away from a left-handed hitter if that's the case, because the gap still remains in right center, and left fielder Martinez. I mean, it's an unbelievable defensive alignment by the outfielders. Now they're playing him like he's a right-handed pull hitter, or John Jaso as a spray hitter hitting the ball softly to left field.
Jaso, a fly ball to center field in the first inning. First pitch, and missed outside. So long look down at Mike Gallego. Inning started with back-to-back strikeouts to Donaldson and Peterson, but then Sogard with the triple and Coco with the walk. Missed again with a fastball, 2-0. So Carlos Pena is going to come in, grab the rosin bag, which he did last night. Talk to his pitcher a little bit.
And who knows, Carlos might have said, you know, same thing. A.J. Griffin stayed with a fastball and he couldn't throw for a strike. You got other pitches.
Yep.
Use them. And
got a base open as well.
Yeah, but I think the aggressiveness of Sogard going for 3 and with 2 outs, they're in scoring position at second, yet he went all the way to third, and the difference in the pitching by Peacock since he has been standing at third is considerably different than early in the game.
That fastball in for a strike.
John Jaso had a pretty good pitch to hit, and maybe just the fact he wanted to look for something away and got it on the inner part of the plate that he decided not to swing.
Little pop-up foul territory. And Dominguez tracks it down, side retired. So the A's rally, do not score. 2-0 Astros after 3. With the A's and the Astros. If you think you know the answer, tweet us at CSN Athletics. 2 players to earn All-Star honors with the A's and the Astros. You're not going to answer the question I asked you?
No, Chef Rodney came to see us. Chef Rodney finally made an appearance. Nice of him to show up and bring some food. You like burgers, don't you?
I do.
I bet you want that one, don't you?
I do, and I don't think I'm going to get it from you.
You can have it.
Top of the 4th.
You can have it.
Dominguez, Gonzalez, Altuve. A.J. Griffin badly needs a quick inning. See if he can get it. Good start, 0-2 to Dominguez.
See, that pitch is not thrown yet. That was a little cut fastball between a cutter and slider. Finally threw one. Chef Rodney brought a menu also, right?
Oh, yeah.
Chef Rodney's good. He provides food and cooks food for all the different diamond levels. He doesn't do Bart Wednesdays, so we have to do that. Yeah.
Good pitch. Call the ball.
Now that's interesting that was not called a strike, because that would have been a good one to call, because it looked like it was in strike zone. Better than the one Josh Donaldson was called out on.
Young is shaded toward right center. He's got it.
For the best value in the Bay Area, Bart $2 Wednesdays tickets are available in Plaza Outfield and Plaza Reserve sections for most Wednesday games this season while supplies last. Purchase tickets now for the popular promotion at the Coliseum box office by phone at 877-493-BALL or online at oaklandathletics.com/Bart. Take Bart and you're there. Bart $2 Wednesdays with the A's. That's tomorrow.
Day game, radio only tomorrow.
Bart $2 Wednesday day game.
So here's Marwin Gonzalez. Those ladies enjoying a night game. They may come back tomorrow. Gonzalez doubled and scored in the third. Good changeup from Griffin.
Said it many times, but I sometimes believe that a starting pitcher struggles, and as much as you won't see it happen, you have to eliminate the pitch count. But A.J. Griffin is pitching better now than he even dreamed about pitching in the first 3 innings and throwing the first 60 pitches. But pitch count will probably get him quicker than anything, but right now he is pitching as well as we have expected to see him at the beginning of the game. But it's taken the 4th inning to do it.
Gets his 4th strikeout. So 2 outs.
The off day on Thursday is we'll be traveling back to St. Petersburg to play the Rays, and that might be helpful because each pitcher will get an extra day. I remember they had about a week in between starts because of the off day and Arturo Colon being added to the rotation. Steve Finley. That looks like Finley. Burger's not going anywhere, guys.
I don't want it to blow away.
The wind is blowing hard, but the burger is not going anywhere.
I don't want to have to eat it off the floor.
Chef Rodney will bring you another one.
Hope so. Chris Young on the move, still on the move, and Chris Young makes a very nice running catch. So 11 pitch inning indeed for A.J. Griffin. So he got what he needed. 2-0 Houston. Check it out, folks. This was September 15th of 2000. That is Bo Porter, his first major league home run, and he does it as an Athletic in St. Petersburg. A's won the game 17-3. That's our true story, brought to you by McDonald's. Well, that's kind of cool. Yep. And our terrific research department down in the truck tells us that Bo Porter hit 2 home runs in his career. That one with the Athletics. The other one was against the Athletics when he played for the Texas Rangers. He took Mark Mulder deep.
Wow.
There you go. Good stuff. 2-0 Astros, bottom of the 4th inning. Seth Smith will try to get something going for the A's. A's finally got Peacock in the stretch in the 3rd inning. They stranded runners at 1st and 3rd.
You know, Bo Porter was also a highly touted football player.
Yeah.
Defensive back, and Bill Parcells and he are good friends. Parcells inducted into the Football Hall of Fame, so Bo Porter called him, and when Bo Porter got the job to manage the Astros, Parcells returned the favor, called him to congratulate him. So they call him the what? The Big Tuna? Is that what they call Parcells?
He's the Big Tuna, all right.
But Bo Porter, and I asked him how much his football background helps as a manager, and he said a lot.
Really?
Because just of the preparation, the intensity, and I think the example he gave, he said the kind of the no fear. He said as a defensive back, he said you go in, you think you're going to intercept a pass, and all of a sudden you don't, but it doesn't make you shy away from trying to do it again. If you fail the first time, it doesn't mean you don't try the second time or whatever. And his background feels that it's really helpful and has helped him as a player and definitely as a manager. And maybe that's what Bill Parcells and he had in common.
4th strikeout for Peacock. He gets Smith to chase that breaking ball. All right, this was my partner. See, this is what a good partner does, is he shares it.
Shortstop.
Well, cameras are everywhere, aren't they?
That's the burger we got right there, folks. That's the Oakland burger. It's 1/3 pound Angus beef. On top of that is barbecue beef brisket, spicy, coleslaw, and some sauce. How about that?
And the wind just blew half the bun off. That was the real wind that we had blowing up here. But no, it's a good burger. It is spicy. Once you bite into it, you will experience that spiciness.
Shot foul.
I apologize to Chef Rodney. He came up during the inning. We just could not get him on TV. I'm sure he waited around long enough to think that he was going to be able to be on TV. But we'll be happy to explain the great food here at the Coliseum. This is the Bar and Grill, right? Yep, it's from the Bar and Grill.
Got some classic meatballs up here. So we appreciate Chef Rodney letting us taste test, and we're being honest. It's terrific.
It is good. It's very good. Just hope you bring some ice cream sundaes up for the night's over.
I think there's some ice cream up there. Oh,
really?
Yes, there it is. And another strikeout. So 2 quick strikeouts for Brad Peacock. There he is. That's Chef Rodney. He's our guy. He's not afraid to try his own food either. Boy, that makes some good food.
Yeah, he just serves it to the patrons and takes part of their foods. As he's
great if he's just going, isn't my food great? Here's Young, who lines one left center field, a base hit. J.D. Martinez has it scooped past him. Young thought about going for second. Now he's going to hold up and head back.
Well, Chili Davis really likes the swing of Chris Young, and there's a perfect example. Tried to stick a fastball by him first pitch, and Chris Young was all over it. He loaded up, and the ball scooted past, but Chris Young really hustling to first base, and that's just in case the outfielder bobbles it. He started and very wisely held up as the left fielder Martinez got to the ball quickly and got it back in. That's a great swing by the veteran Chris Young, who seems to be playing every day someplace.
Yep, which is what he hoped.
Yep. Seth Smith also getting the at-bats. Of course, Seth put us on the disabled list with the DH role and the outfielders, and of course Shane Peterson playing at first base with Brandon Moss on paternity leave. So all things happening to the good. Get Josh Reddick going with the Boston Strong on his wrist, and maybe he can strong one on the seats to tie it.
Reddick fouled out in the 2nd inning. And now he's ahead in the count, 2-0. So we'll see if Josh can do something sitting in a good hitter's count.
Well, the defense again shading Josh Reddick. Maybe they saw in spring training that he was hitting the ball to the opposite field, but the huge gap in right center, that's just unbelievable. Yeah, I think you're right. They're playing the same spot for everybody.
Interesting.
Brad Peacock keeps the fastball away with enough velocity, it's going to be hard for left-handers to pull a 92 to 94 mile an hour fastball. And if they try to pull it, might be a ground ball or pop up anyway.
Young's lead is not a real big one. Pitch number 65 coming up from Brad Peacock. And it's a strike. Fastball with a little tail on it.
And the Tommy Cam, the outside fastball called a strike by home plate umpire Bruce Dreckman. And that's what we're seeing with Brad Peacock. And I think the defensive alignment will tell what he's trying to do with his pitches.
Young takes off, a huge jump, maybe the biggest jump in the history of baseball.
Fortunately, it was not a pitch in the strike zone.
Watch this jump, folks.
He just took off, and Brad Peacock did not get the sign to throw to first base. He did not get the sign, even a look. And for the life of me, when a pitcher comes set, and he's using his peripheral vision to look. I mean,
plus everybody's got to be yelling, right? I mean,
probably might balk too if he panics too much. Figure the 2 outs, worry about the hitter, which he was.
We'll see if Reddick can come through, get the A's on the board. 3-2, and he walked. So it'll be up to Donaldson. Second walk issued by Brad Peacock.
Now batting.
So the A's at least making Peacock work the last couple innings.
Donaldson.
Figuring at some point they will break through. The Mariners and the Tigers are playing in Seattle, with Mariners leading 2-1 in the 5th inning. That's Pfister and Harang. Aaron Harang making his first start for the Mariners. Picked up last week. It's the first of a 3-game set.
He should help them.
He should.
He's a good pitcher.
Twins leading the Angels 8-4 in the 9th inning in Minneapolis. So we'll let you know how that game finishes up. Here's Donaldson, who struck out looking. Young takes off again. Both runners take off. The throw goes through to second base, and everybody's safe. So Peacock, again, that's all he had to do was step off. Another giant jump by Chris Young.
You know, the scouting report on Peacock is tremendous, because they obviously know they can run, and even more so with Josh Reddick, the trailing runner. He was not going to take it easily. He saw the throw going to second. He busted it hard. And you have to, as a trailing runner, he turned sideways to see that Chris Young was going to be running. Now get the hit, Josh Donaldson. He took a strike to allow them to steal, both to get in scoring position.
Fastball way away. So Peacock had a chance to get himself out of this inning twice, and he didn't do it either time.
Maybe that's why Altuve did what he did in the first inning against A.J. Griffin, thinking that Griffin at least looked, maybe a double look, but evidently Peacock looks once and then concentrates on the hitter, because he completely forgets about the base runners.
To the backstop, and the A's are going to get a run. So the stolen base is by Chris Young. Helped the A's get on the board. It's 2-1.
Well, we saw with Coco Crisp, he stayed with the fastball. That was the fastball that he just spiked in the ground. So Chris Young, a single stolen base, wild pitch. And Castro tried to backhand it. It's thrown too hard, could not handle it. And the A's, thanks to aggressive base running and a wild pitch, score one, and trying to score more. Great job, Chris Young. I mean, his hit alone was spectacular.
Yeah.
And then his aggressive base running just made it that much better. The boys are seeing something in Peacock, especially with the runners on base. So we'll see if it continues.
So the count is 2-1 to Donaldson. Donaldson chased the fastball 2-2. So in the third inning, is that swing by Donaldson. But Ray, in the third inning, Peacock struck out the first two and then got in trouble, but he was able to get out of it. This inning, struck out the first two and then got in trouble, and the A's have scored a run. Strike three call. So Donaldson strikes out for the second time, but the A's get a run. They use their speed to get a run. 2-1. Houston after 4. Name the two players to earn all-star honors with the A's and the Astros. Phil Garner, how about that? And Miguel Tejada. Remember, Tejada went from the Orioles to the Astros in a trade.
And Scrap Iron, not only playing there, but managing the Astros World Series in 2005.
Still lives there, right?
Yes, he does. And he's watching this game right now.
Hi, Phil.
Well, maybe not our feed. Maybe Bill Brown and Alan Ashby and Jeff Blum on the TV side. But, you know, as Phil Garner said, and the Astros and Rangers have to be feeling the same thing. I know the Rangers have been, and that is playing in the Western Division of the American League, but residing in the central part of the United States. The 2-hour time change is big.
There's something about that in their notes, Ray. I'm going to tell you.
It's called not good, right?
Well, it's the total number of games. 29 games the Astros will play this year in the Pacific time zone.
Yep.
So that's exactly what you're talking about. Which means this game tonight in Houston started at 9:07.
That's right.
And that is an issue when you start talking about the television situation. But 29 games.
And assuming they don't play the Dodgers or the Padres in the interleague play, just the three, maybe because they're playing 19 games against each team in the Western Division,
9 or 10 against each one in.
So that's a 10, 10, and a 9 basically that out here.
Count stays 3-2 to Justin Maxwell. But it does make a difference if you Just thinking about your division games on the road. Swing and a miss. Fastball right by Maxwell. So 5 strikeouts for A.J. Griffin. That's Frank Robinson. It's a very cool picture. McClymonds High.
A young Frank Robinson.
Yeah. Still looks the same though, doesn't he?
Hall of Famer.
That was 1956.
Got his baseball card for 58.
Did you?
And 56.
21-year career.
Managed the Cleveland Indians, 1975. First African-American manager.
Young to the wall, and he's got just enough room. Castro put a charge into it, but not enough. 2 outs here in the top of the 5th.
I'd say something about the way the ball is carrying, because that was the high fly ball similar to the one that Jed Lowry hit. Lowry's went nowhere, but Castro's took Chris Young back to halfway in the warning track and 1 step from the wall.
So 2 outs for Chris Carter. Carter walked into second and had an RBI single in the 3rd, picking up his 8th RBI of the year. You see the pitch count for Griffin at 92 now.
Well, maybe the extra day off will get him a few extra pitches.
Looks like he's going to have a 3-up, 3-down inning. Solgar grabs it, and that's another 11-pitch inning. Back-to-back 11-pitch innings for A.J. Griffin. Bottom of the 5th coming up.
Media. You can follow the A's on Twitter, Facebook, and more, and see which A's players are active on social media. It's the A's Twitter roster. You got it. For more information, go to OaklandAthletics.com/connect today. Twitter roster. Wow. What would the man who always said, "Welcome to the Wigwam," say about the Twitter roster?
Oh, yeah.
Bob Feller.
That's a good question.
I think Bob Feller was a great pitcher, the late Bob Feller, and I don't think he tweeted.
I don't think he did either. He may not have had an email address. And that's not necessarily a bad thing.
That's true. I still think what Jackie Moore does as a bench coach for Ron Washington, writes the lineup out in pencil.
Old timer, huh?
And he said, if you're going to contact me, you better call me on my house phone. Don't try me on a cell phone, because I'm not going to answer. Don't have one.
Shane Peterson in his first major league at bat struck out swinging. That was in the 3rd. Good swing there, fouls it straight back. Well, the A's have gotten to Peacock a little bit the last 2 innings, at least as far as making him pitch out of the stretch, throw a lot more pitches.
Well, it looks like Chris Young wants to pitch out a stretch more. Maybe they figured out something for the base running to take advantage, and they're definitely doing it, and did in the last inning to help the A's score their only run.
So 2-1 to Peterson. He'll be followed by Sogard and then Crisp here in the bottom of the 5th.
Wow.
And that one called a strike in the outside corner. Didn't have to be.
Tommy Cam, how's it look? Oh my. Wow, there's your angle, folks. The home plate umpire. Get behind the catcher. You make that call much better. Waiting for Eddie Montague to come over again.
And that one fouled straight back.
Well, AJ's pitched through 5 innings, considering he had nothing for 3. He's going to be going out for the 6th, and still under 100 pitches.
Curveball rolled foul past Ty Weller.
Bob Melvin was concerned last night after his club scored 6 runs in the first inning. He wanted them to add on because of, well, Clemens. He did not allow them to pitch great for 5 1/3 innings. Finally, they did add on in the 7th and the 8th.
Swing and a miss. Better fastball there, 93 miles an hour. So that is 7 strikeouts for Brad Peacock. Well, be sure to log on to csncalifornia.com and stay up to date on everything athletics with their insider Casey Pratt. Follow Casey on Twitter at Casey Pratt CSN. Log on and read Casey's news and check out his exclusive videos all season long only on csncalifornia.com.
So that last promo was all about Casey Pratt. Social media, Twitter,
He's
Facebook.
all over the place. There's Casey working hard.
Hi, Glenn.
Casey and I are very good friends. Casey and Ray don't have much of a relationship, really. Of course, there's plenty of time. Action. Dallas Keuchel starts to throw. Sogard tripled in the 3rd. And he rips one down the right field line, and that's going to one-hop the wall. Sogard's going to have a 1-out double. So Sogard a double and a triple tonight.
Eric Sogard has a very quick bat, as he showed with the triple, and watch how quickly he turns on the fastball inside. Great job of turning on it and hitting a double down the right field line. Nice hitting, and he can fly. He's got a dirty uniform for Cliff Clavin to clean after the game.
Nerd power. There he is. He is not a nerd.
No, he is not.
So Coco Crisp tried to tie this game up with a base hit.
Walked out to tunnel over the weekend, and late game. Walked out, and his Eric Sogard's wife, Casey, just got married a year ago. And she's there all by herself, and she said, Eric's always the last one. I said, that's why he's working hard, and what he's done tonight with the triple and double, that's why he stays and works hard after a game, and it pays off.
Look at that. That's an artiste right there, cleaning his glasses.
Oh, they write an article about one of the rare, if not the only player in baseball wearing glasses. AJ Griffin wears glasses. He doesn't need them just to see the signs from the catcher. Thogi needs him to hit, but I think his wife Casey just understand. Husband works hard. That's why he's a good player.
2-0 now to Coco Crisp. 84 pitches for Brad Peacock.
The A's have put themselves in a position last few innings to put some runs on the scoreboard. They did it with a wild pitch, but waiting for the big hit to make it even better.
Got a good shot.
Latest edition of Athletics Magazine. Coco on the cover. Two and 0 the count. Coco with a ground out and a walk so far tonight. Sogard, the tying run at second base. Up high, 3-0. So action in the bullpen. Should be ready to go. Pitch called the strike. Coco thought maybe it was outside.
It's amazing. Nothing necessarily is automatic on 3-0, and the A's hitters just, those pitches are outside. I'm sorry, and that's Bruce Dragman. The way he's lining up on the right shoulder of the catcher, he cannot see the outside part of the plate. I've said it over and over, but catcher, the umpires with that angle, and when he's looking that way, he cannot see the outside corner, and it's almost a guess. And unfortunately, he's guessed incorrectly in several pitches.
That one's drilled right field, and Keel going back. He's at the wall, and it's off the wall. Sogard's going to score, and Coco's flying around second, and he's going to be standing at third with a triple. 2-2 game.
Well, it's great to see a hitter swing at a pitch. He hit it well, but Coco has power for home runs, but he was running out of the box as he probably felt this ball was not going to make it out of the park. It's not going to be a home run. And for him to get a triple, this ball off the wall, and Keel tried to use his glove just to knock the ball down. He did a pretty good job. Actually, his left hand, his bare arm. But Coco turned it on. Got the great angle around first base, and here he goes. Cap fell off, his helmet fell off, and all the way into third standing up. So the A's the opportunity now to take the lead. It's Coco's triple.
So first triple of the year for Coco Crisp. And Bo Porter's coming out.
Well, the way he was trotting, had a couple of lefties and Jaso and Smith. Switch hitter Lowry to follow. So you'd think that Bo Porter is not out there to make the pitching change.
Well, we shall see. Keuchel definitely ready.
The 11 seconds for Coco to go home to third. And especially when he turns it on, I don't think the left groin's bothering him. I think he's okay. The name Willie Davis always comes up with the Los Angeles Dodgers. Willie could go from home to third in probably less than 11 seconds. But it was fun to watch, and it's what I kept telling Jamal Weeks. With your speed, the triple is the most exciting play. You don't have to hit the ball out of the park. Use your wheels. Fans get more excited with the triple, or as excited they do as a home run.
Here's Jaso. Pitch out. Nothing going on. Infield in.
And the outfield, left and center, extremely shallow. Unbelievable. And Jaso has some pop in his back, especially going to the opposite direction. And if Andy can look as a catcher, he knows the positioning of the outfielders. It's the way they're going to pitch him. The infield's playing him to pull. And the outfield to go to the opposite way.
So now he's in the driver's seat at 2-0.
Kai Bo Porter might have said, don't worry about pitching carefully, try to get him to hit your pitch. And if not, he might come out of the game. Another lefty in the on deck circle might bring the lefty in to face him.
Off speed in first, right? See, that'd be hard for a pitcher, though, if you know it may be your last guy. That's not going to want to pitch around him. And you want to go get the guy.
And the way he threw the 2-0 curveball, he's thinking about getting him out. So that is probably not what Bo Porter said to him. Sogard started with a double. Coco's at third with a triple to drive him in.
Missed badly. 3-1.
Yeah, I agree. It's like the intentional walk. Yeah, walk this guy, and oh, by the way, we're going to take you out. And that's your run that's on base when I take you out.
That's a lot.
Maybe expanding the zone would be a good idea for John Jaso, especially look fastball. If you get it, expand a little bit to drive in the go-ahead run.
A 3-1 curveball, and he missed.
Yep.
And Jaso's aboard, and Smith will be the hitter. And that's going to do it for Peacock. He was good early, but he started to struggle. So it's going to be 4 1/3 for Brad Peacock. When it's time for change, think Speedy Oil Change and Tune-Up, your oil change tune-up and Smog experts.
Presented by authority of the Oakland Athletics and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Athletics Investment Group, LLC.
So the A's have tied it. RBI triple by Coco Crisp. Now they got a pretty good chance to take the lead. So 2-2, first and third, one out for Seth Smith. And he's going to face the left-hander Dallas Keuchel.
And the interesting move in Houston, Seth Smith hit a home run off this left-hander. solo home run, but he pitched well. Just the 3 hits and 3 innings pitched in relief of Bud Norris. But the lefty with a decent fastball, low 90s, cutter, 2 and 4 seam fastball with a cutter and a changeup. And the infield playing for 2.
And the outfield swung toward left center. Right?
Again. Well, maybe they remember the home run to left field. Was it the Crawford box? Boxes. Left field.
Oh,
Yeah, there it is.
Hit it pretty well. So 0-1 to Smith, who has hit a fly ball to right, and then he has struck out. When we were in Houston, the Astros acquired Travis Blackley, but Blackley went out to throw a bullpen session the first day he was with the Astros, and he got hurt. So he went on the 15-day disabled list, and Dallas Keuchel was then called up. And the day he got there, he pitched those 3 innings against the Athletics, giving up that Seth Smith home run. He actually pitched pretty well. Nobody else in their bullpen really did, but he did a decent job. Base hit right field. A's take the lead. Jaso's going to try for third. He'll make it, and it's 3-2 Athletics.
Well, Seth Smith, a great job on a hanging curveball, and A.J. Griffin has settled down. He now has the lead. Brad Peacock has just seen the base runner score, but the hanger and Seth Smith, I don't know that there's a better hitter in these situations where he might struggle initially with an at-bat, but then in a case, a couple of strikes, stays on a breaking pitch and hammers it into right field. And the aggressive Jaso, Ankiel's got a pretty good arm, but he's still testing him and made it easily. So great job of hitting by the one and only Seth Smith. Goes triple. The A's have the lead.
So Smith gets his 7th RBI, and here's Jed Lowry, still only 1 out. It's been a double, triple, walk, single for the A's. 2 runs in this inning. Setting up inside, and it's low. 1-1 the count.
You think maybe Travis Blackley, maybe they wanted to stretch him out to start, so good way to get him to rehab, to put him on the roster and yell him. And
well, that was one of the rumors that was tossed around. Was he really hurt?
But remember, in spring training, he wasn't pitching that much, that many innings, and of course did an excellent job last year with the A's in the spot starter role. We shall see if he joins the rotation soon. After his 20, see, a starting pitcher can rehab for 20 games down at the minor leagues because they cannot pitch every day.
That's batting average against fastballs. Jed Lowry hitting .440. Justin Upton. Well, how about the season he's having for the Braves?
And his older brother BJ is not
BJ's not having a great start. Justin has 8 home runs.
But I will say, as well as Travis Blackley pitched for the A's last year, if he joins the Astros rotation or their staff at all, I think it's going to help them.
Yep.
Because he was excellent for the A's.
Another foul ball by Jed Lowry.
And maybe it's the year of the Aussie. You know, the Aussie won the Masters for the first time in the history of Australian golfers, I guess. Travis Blackley, I'm sure, was happy, as was Grant Balfour. Grant's happy about everything, especially when he pitches.
He's going home this weekend.
Yes, he is.
Lives in St. Pete, right?
Yep. I hope he's not going to Australia.
Nope,
It's a little bit longer flight.
Roll toward third. Dominguez is coming home. The throw is low, but they got the tag on Jaso. What a play by the catcher, Jason Castro. So Jaso is thrown out at the plate on a close play.
Now Lowry got on top of the ball, and it was a great play because he had to scoop it, and then Jaso tried to go around to tag the plate with his hand.
Now batting, center fielder.
Castro had his foot there enough to block him off and got him as he went past him. But you know, Cap, one thing about that play, first and third, and it's a judgment call on the runner in third, because typically a runner in third will run if there's a chance of turning a double play. You try to avoid, in this case, an inning double play. There's no way that the Astros, maybe it would have been tough to get one out because Lowry runs well enough, but Jaso went, and the only play for the third baseman, Dominguez, was to go to the plate, and with the help of his catcher, made the great play.
So 2 outs. Smith at second, Lowry at first for Chris Young. Replay showed a very close play, but it looked like Bruce Druckman got it right.
I think you're right, because
hit hard right on the ground to Gonzalez. Side retired. A couple of runs on 3 hits for the A's, so the A's have the lead 3-2 after 5.
For this, join the A's for First Little League Day of 2013. Driven by Chevrolet, Sunday, April 28th. The event features a pregame festival and on-field parade. 7,500 kids will receive A's wristbands. For more information or for discounts of groups of 25 or more, call 510-638-GO-A's or go to oaklandathletics.com/Little League. You must purchase a special ticket to participate in the festivities. Those, I guarantee you, they'll be there.
Yep.
They will be there walking around, and somebody will buy them that special ticket to make sure that they can participate. It's a fun time. Walk on the warning track and say, wow, this is great. This is big.
Carlos Pena, J.D. Martinez, and Rick Ankiel to hit against A.J. Griffin, who, let's see, how about 8 in a row retired by Griffin? And now he pitches with the lead. See if he can continue that success now with a 3-2 lead. Chris Resop up throwing. See, the pitch count's at 95. Pena has walked twice. He takes a fastball for a strike.
Bob Melvin, a former catcher, and of course Curt Young, the outstanding pitching coach, I'm sure realizing that for A.J. Griffin, as this game has progressed, he has gotten better and better. And that may be, although Rhysop getting loose and get through this inning. Then he could turn it over to the big three out of the bullpen for one inning apiece and try to seal off a victory. And that's why with the A's bullpen, it could be a 6-inning game for a starting pitcher. They pitch well for 6, have a lead. It's very possible that the bullpen could come in and shut down the opposition.
Well, they could probably do it after 5.
Well, that's
6
true.
certainly.
That's true. Yeah, there's plenty enough down there, but it's not something you want to push. And the starter always has a lot of pride, takes a lot of pride in his pitching. And
Seth Smith takes care of the loose baseball.
There's a couple of them. Ryan Cook from the right-hand side, Jerry Blevins from the left. Oh, it must be beard time for the bullpen of the A's. A lot of them growing the facial hair. They are a unit that sticks together nicely. How about Jerry Blevins on the cover of the Pet Calendar?
I know.
How about that?
How about Josh Reddick out in right field?
Very nice.
To pitch, swing and a miss. Fastball, a little up and in, and that's strikeout number 6 for A.J. Griffin.
Just a good fastball at 90. Good location, much better, much different than what he did. Carlos Pena walked twice.
Number 14.
First 2 at bats.
What do you think of that, Ray? Do you like it? That's a good one.
Must have been back in the days with the long hair.
Yeah, a young Ray Fosse.
And the right color hair. Different color hair.
We should have given those guys that picture that shows you in spring training 1966 when you look like Steve McQueen with your sweet sweater on and shades.
My alpaca.
Oh, man. Should have shown him that one and let him. That's right. We know those folks out there. A lot can happen over the course of a 6-month baseball season. 0-2 fastball, swing and a miss, back-to-back strikeouts. So Griffin locking himself in, even though this could be his last inning.
Well, Arthur is doing the job tonight, isn't he? How about this fastball? The fact that he's elevating fastballs, which are always a little bit more difficult to catch up to anyway. He did it to Pena, and now this fastball in the zone to Martinez. Just finish it off right here. There's nothing wrong with that pitch either.
Look at the last 3 innings.
Yeah. Look at the 34 pitch inning. That's the big one. But first 3, a lot. Last 3, nice.
And Keel was part of a big play in this game with the bases loaded and 2 runs in the 3rd inning. And Keel hit a line drive that was headed down the right field line, but Shane Peterson dove and caught it in the air to end the inning, and it would have scored 2 more, and it may have scored all 3 runners. Swing and a miss, struck him out. And how about that inning for A.J. Griffin? Strikes out the side. He's got 8 and 6 innings, and the A's lead 3-2.
Creek Casino Resort. Cache Creek is giving away 16 cars guaranteed. Visit cachecreek.com for information. You mean somebody else besides George Zimmer guarantees it? Sure. Cache Creek Casino, 16 cars. I guarantee it.
Big George. A's now with a 3-2 lead as we have reached the bottom of the 6th inning.
And now the bullpen for the A's getting heated up. Ryan Cook starts to loosen. A.J. Griffin, last 3 innings, 11, 11, and 13 pitches. And to finish it, the last 3 with strikeout, strikeout, strikeout. That's a job well done.
So see if the A's can extend the lead as Reddick leads it off against Keuchel. So 1-1 the count. Reddick with a foul out and a walk. Breaking ball and Reddick swings through it. 1-2. Tigers still leading the Mariners 3-2. Top of the 7th inning at Safeco. On the ground toward Dominguez, who was shaded well to his left, almost near the shortstop spot. So Reddick is retired. 1 out here in the bottom of the 6th.
Now batting third baseman, number 20, Josh Donaldson.
Cook starts to throw. So Donaldson steps in. Donaldson had a tough night so far. He has struck out twice, both times looking. The average right at 250 for Donaldson. 14 hits in 56 at bats. Changeup, pretty good one by Keuchel.
Such a great changeup, Josh Donaldson. As we have talked about his ability to go to the opposite field nicely, he just pulled open up too much on the changeup away. Maybe he was setting him up for the same pitch that he'll hit to right field.
Shallow left. J.D. Martinez coming in, but it's going to be the shortstop Marwin Gonzalez who goes out. He makes the catch. So 2 outs, and that gets us to the 7th season of the Comcast Sportsnet All-Star Teacher Program, who recognizes Bay Area teachers that make a difference. Visit csncalifornia.com and vote for the 2013 All-Star Teacher. Check out the finalist bios and video features. The winning teacher receives $20,000 for his or her school. So Shane Peterson will hit, but not before timeout is called. There's a ball loose out in left field again. Maybe Cook needs just a little extra time.
Yeah.
Rainer Cruz starts to throw for the Astros. Peterson has struck out twice, both times swinging. Watching Shane Peterson stands way off the plate.
But it's one of those things too, unfortunately, for a young player coming up, his debut, and probably accustomed to seeing fastballs, and when he gets them he can't catch up, and then sees a lot of breaking pitches.
Tap slowly toward Pena. He's got it. He'll flip to Keuchel. Side retired. 3 up, 3 down inning, and we are headed to the 7th from the O.co Coliseum. A's 3, Astros 2.
is brought to you by Xfinity, home of the most live sports.
3-2 the A's lead. It's the top of the 7th inning. A's trying to make it 5 for 5 in wins over the Astros so far this year. When it's time for a change, think Speedy Oil Change and Tune-Up. Get your oil change, tune-up, and spawn expert. Ryan Cook comes in for appearance number 7. So Griffin goes 6 innings. And now it's time to turn it over to that terrific A's bullpen.
Well, it is terrific, and the A's bullpen will this time have a 1-run lead to protect, and hopefully the offense the next couple of innings can add to that.
Oh yeah, a cool night. First pitch swinging, Matt Dominguez, right field. Reddick on the move, cannot get it. So Dominguez, Gonzalez, and Altuve here in the 7th inning. See who passed away today, Ray? Pat Summerall.
He did.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's too bad.
Terrific announcer.
Very
mostly football.
He and John Madden teamed up nicely.
Oh,
They were the best. That's too bad.
so a legend in our field of work, Pat Summerall. Played for the New York Giants in the NFL for a long time. He mastered the art of not saying a lot, but
We didn't have to with Madden.
he was a genius.
He
man.
was, yeah.
Didn't hardly say a lot, but it was all good. Reddick coming in. Reddick coming in. Nice play, Josh. A Gold Glover.
Well, that's a tremendous play, especially as softly as the ball was hit. And the most important thing on this play, he hustled so well, so much he didn't have to dive for the ball. The worst thing you want to see is an outfielder dive, miss the ball, have it get past him, and the hitter gets in a scoring position. But Josh Reddick, the way he ran out the ground ball, hitting his last at bat, ball right to the third baseman, busted hard down the line. He's playing the same defensively. And that's the old saying about you playing both sides of the baseball. You try to swing the bat, but you don't want to take what you're not doing offensively to your defense, and Josh Reddick definitely does not do that. His bat's going to get hot, and when it does, he's going to carry the club. Oof. That's impressive.
Speaking of carrying the club, the bullpen can do that. Best in the American League right now. 0-2 to Marwin Gonzalez, who has doubled and scored and struck out. The Astros have not had a hit since the 4th inning. In fact, they have 4 hits in the game, and all 4 of them came in the 3rd inning.
In a 34-pitch 3rd inning, the only thing, A.J. Griffin struggled in the first 2, but really in the 3rd. You're right about the play made by Shane Peterson and Keel's ball. That could have opened it up and might have been tough for the A's to come back.
So Cook kicks and deals, and that one's foul territory. Donaldson on the move, and Donaldson up and over the bullpen mound, cannot make the play. You gotta look to see where the mound is. You have to.
He jumped perfectly. Forgot about the baseball, but he jumped to avoid the incline at the back of the mound. It's a long run, a lot of foul territory.
If you're running full steam on flat ground and then you hit an incline, you're going to fall every single time.
And that's
unless you know it's coming.
A lot of visiting infielders will do that.
Reddick going back at the wall, and he's got just enough room, and that's out number 2.
Well, fortunately for the A's, Gonzalez got under that ball. That was a good swing on an off-speed pitch. Got under it just enough to keep it in the park.
Now batting, number 27,
Bernie Lean going
Jose Altuve.
So here's the leadoff man, Jose Altuve. He's had a good night. A walk, a single, and a flyout, and he scored a run. And that one's drilled toward the gap, and that'll be extra bases. Altuve's very fast. He's going to head to second. He'll stop there with a 2-out double.
I think the scouting report on this young man, don't throw him a first pitch fastball.
He's ready for it.
He is ready. And that was a kind of get me over fastball for a strike, but Altuve was not going to have anything. He's not going to take it. He's not your prototypical leadoff fielder. The last 3 at bats, he has 2 singles and a line drive to center field. He's seen exactly 4 pitches. The 2 hits are on the first pitch fastball.
And that's the tying run. So here's Maxwell. And Maxwell swings at a slider and misses. Maxwell is 1 for 3. He had an RBI single in the 3rd inning. He's 2 for 7 in the series. Slider again and a nasty one, 0-2.
You take that same pitch and start a little bit farther outside and try to finish him off maybe with the same pitch, but not start it middle of the plate or inside definitely. And if you're going to do it, way off for a chase pitch. Got a couple of pitches to try to work with.
That one rolled. It's fair. Donaldson picks it up, guns it across just in time to get Maxwell. Altuve double. He is stranded. It's the 7th inning stretch from the Coliseum. 3-2 Athletics. Tonight at 10:30 on our sister station Comcast Sportsnet Bay Area. David Feldman, Ahmed Fareed will host. They're going to talk about the A's game here at the Coliseum. They're going to talk with Jed York about the 49ers, and we'll also have Sharks highlights and reaction. A's looking for their 11th win of the year. They come in 10-4.
Second baseman, number 28, Eric Sogard.
Trying to continue their hot start. And we said it opening night, Ray. We were talking about the schedule. And the A's play the Astros 6 of their first 16 games. And we thought that it was important to take advantage of that. And so far they have.
Indeed they have, and just like to continue. And this young man, Eric Sogard, has been the catalyst for the A's tonight. A couple of hits, a triple and double, and he scored the big run to tie the game.
Sogard lost one to right field. Ankiel coming in, and it drops in front. Sogard will take it. He's a home run away from the cycle.
Guess what Ankiel did in right field? He broke back on a big swing
Just a little bit.
by Sogard. He had a big swing on the breaking ball. It was towards the end of the bat, but he broke on the contact and remembered that maybe seemed hesitate and just could not come up. Made a smart play by not trying to dive and make up for the miscue. But Sogard, a triple, double, and single. If you didn't notice anything about Carlos Pena, everybody seems to have black shoes. Carlos has, maybe he's the Joe Namath of the Houston Astros. Remember Joe Namath wore white shoes?
Maybe. He's the human rain delay both at the plate and in the field too. I can't help but say that. There's a little blue in there.
Yeah. Nothing's very uniform about the shoes of the Astros. You know, I think what Carlos Pena is doing, you know, he and Ankiel, Cedeno, only 3 veterans, and I think Carlos is trying to kind of take charge and be the veteran on this club and maybe help out some of the young players.
Coco Crisp has had a good night. RBI triple, scored a run, also walked. First pitch in the first strike. Scores are coming in right. The Twins beat the Angels 8-6.
That's 2 in a row after winning 2 in a row against the Astros. They've now lost 2 in a row on the road.
So they are 4-10 now, are the Angels. Pelfrey the winner, Vargas the loser. Vargas was knocked out in the 4th inning. Joe Mauer had a 4-hit, 3 RBI game for the Twins. How about this, Rick? The Angels starters this year, their ERA is 6.07.
That BI is the best.
Statman BI now on Twitter.
What? Yeah. Are you serious? Facebook, Twitter, BI.
In the dirt. Nothing for Josh Hamilton tonight. He was 0 for 4. The Rangers beat the Cubs 4-2 in Chicago. 7 very good innings for Derek Holland. Adrian Beltre hit a 2-run homer. It was chilly Willy in Chicago. 39 degrees at first pitch. So nice weather has not arrived in Chicago yet. So the Rangers get a win. It was interesting, Ray. There's 3 interleague series going on.
I know. I was looking for the Rangers on the board, and I looked to the left for the American League.
Yep, there's 3 of them, and that caught me by surprise as well when I was looking at the schedule for today.
Well, I saw the Yankees hosting the Diamondbacks.
Yeah. Rangers, Cubs, and the Royals and the Braves.
Yeah.
Now, one of those is just a 2-game series. I'm not sure. I think the Royals and the Braves are just a 2-game series, but I thought that was interesting. I didn't realize that would happen at times where there was more than one interleague series going on. In this case, there's 3.
Well, I think the A's played the Reds here. They actually go to Cincinnati and play Cincinnati here.
2-2.
Yeah, 2-2. Just like the A's and Giants will play 2-2 in 4 consecutive days. Yeah, I was surprised.
Drive to center for Maxwell. He's got it. I'm sure it's not going to happen a lot where there's 3 interleague games being played on the same night. So the Rangers win, the Angels lose, and the Tigers are beating the Mariners 4-2 now at the top of the 8th inning behind Doug Fister. Jaso steps in 0 for 2 with a walk. The Yankees beat the Diamondbacks 4-2. Nova the winner, McCarthy the loser. So Brandon McCarthy, 3 starts for the Diamondbacks so far this year. He is 0-2. The pitched just 4 innings tonight. Gave up a 3-run homer to Robinson Cano, so that was the difference in that game. The Yankees are 7-5.
John Sterling must be happy saying Yankees win in 7 of those games. Huh?
I'm sure he is happy.
Longtime voice of the Yankees.
Jaso swings over top, 1-1 the count. He was playing good baseball. The Boston Red Sox, they beat the Indians 7-2 in Cleveland. All 7 runs coming in the second inning. DeBron over Jimenez. Red Sox are 9-4. They've won 4 in a row.
In a division that everybody thought Toronto would run away with, the Eastern Division and even the World Series.
Oakland loves Boston. Indeed. We're thinking about the good folks of Boston. Another huge jump and an easy stolen base for Sogard. So I got the A's with 4 stolen bases tonight, and they're adding to their major league lead. They now have 15 this year.
And every time, I mean, he went without, I mean, this is a left-hander looking right at him, Kite. Watch him take off. See?
He never looked back to first.
Exactly. And that, I think, is what the A's are picking up, and maybe something the scouting report or the A's staff, somebody's picking up that whenever the pitchers look to a base, they don't look again. Because every time, Chris Young has done it twice, and now Sogard, as soon as it looks back to the plate, they take off. Which, you know, I still say, from a left-handed pitcher standpoint, control your own running game.
Little cue shot, tough play for Dominguez, the third baseman. He throws, it's wide. It's going to be a hit for Jaso. Sogard had the hold.
Smart base running on the part of Eric Sogard, because he would have run into an out. So with the ball in front of him and just 1 out, he decided to stay there. And as far as the third baseman, Dominguez had to go off balance throw, and Carlos Pena smartly coming off the bag to avoid having the ball get past him and would have allowed the run to score. Carlos tried to stay on the bag as long as possible, but Jaso with an infield hit.
Castro's going to go through some signs. So Smith steps in. Smith had an RBI single in the 5th inning. He rolls this one foul, and the hit came off Keuchel, and it was the first batter that Keuchel faced. Day game tomorrow. It's radio only. Bud Norris, a couple of wins this year against Bartolo Colon. Norris and Colon. 12:35 first pitch.
There's some happy folks from Novato here tomorrow. Including his parents who were here last night, I'm sure, for the entire series.
One and one now to Smith. The A's will board a charter flight Thursday morning for St. Petersburg to take on a Rays team that is not playing very good baseball. They lost again today, Ray. Baltimore 5, Tampa Bay 4. Rays have lost 7 out of their last 8.
Do you know he'll be the most positive man in the Rays uniform? Joe Maddon, manager of the Rays.
Tordell Tuve out at second, out at first. So tailor-made double play, and Keuchel gets out of the jam. So we're headed to the 8th inning. The A's hanging on to a 3-2 lead.
27th, the A's will celebrate the 40th anniversary of their 1973 World Series championship. 10,000 fans will receive that right there. Reggie Jackson bobblehead is presented by Pepsi. Reggie Jackson, Riley Fingers, Sal Bando, Joe Rudy, and many members are scheduled to attend along with a special pregame ceremony. For more information and tickets, call 877-493-BALL or visit OaklandAthletics.com/ticket. And a good friend Monty Moore will be in town as well. Monty sent me a bobblehead of Monty Moore.
I want one.
It's good.
Is he going to be here that weekend?
Yes, he is. He's going to be here, and I'm sure he will be announcing the players.
As he should be.
Yep.
Castro.
So when it's time for change, think Speedy Oil Change and Tune-Up, your oil change, tune-up, and smog experts.
And you know, Monty will get a script about the players who are going to be here, and Monty will throw the script away and do it himself because he was there. He lived it. He knows everybody, so he doesn't have to have anybody tell him what to say. He knows exactly what to say.
So Doolittle comes in. Pitched last night, just 2/3 of an inning, only threw 13 pitches, so he's fine to go tonight. Facing Castro, Carter, Pena. Fastball, swing and a miss by Castro, who's 0 for 3. So his average all the way down to 204 now.
It's a tough challenge for a left-handed hitter facing the blazing fastball of Sean Doolittle. That's a blazing fastball. Easy 92. I think we might be looking at kind of Max Scherzer and his strikeouts and the inability of hitters to pick up the ball out of his hand, the late movement, the late explosion at the plate, and for some reason Sean Doolittle has a similar delivery.
Runs that one right in on the hands of Castro. Well, least amount of service time.
Yep, that's what it's all about. He's just praying for a rookie to come up, but that probably is not going to happen in the A's bullpen as strong as it is, so he is very proud to carry the backpack, the Hello Kitty backpack, looks like.
Yeah.
No, that's not.
No,
that's not a kitty.
It's a good guess by you, though. In fact, the fact that you even threw that out there is pretty good.
Two daughters, man.
That's true.
You know, when you have daughters, as you know,
I know.
You buy a lot of the Hello Kitty stuff. I don't think Matthew would like Hello Kitty. No,
he's a big scrapping boy.
Right, that's right.
Skied to shallow right. Reddick's got it for out number 1. So that'll bring up Chris Carter. One other final in the American League. The White Sox beat the Blue Jays 4-3.
Now batting, number 23.
White Sox
Carter.
got a run in the top of the 9th, hung on and won it. And the hottest team in baseball won again, the Atlanta Braves. They beat the Kansas City Royals 6-3. The Braves are 12-1, and they've won 10 in a row. One to Carter, who has walked an RBI single and popped out to second. And he got a fastball to hit and fouled it back. Ray, we were talking about the Rays, where the A's would be going this weekend, and they're just not playing very good baseball. What they're not doing is they're not hitting at all. Just not scoring runs.
They're always tough at Tropicana Field.
Young goes back, settling underneath it, right in front of the Comcast Sportsnet sign. He's got it for out number 2.
Sean Doolittle staying with his number 1 pitch, the fastball. The left-hander Castro, and now to Chris Carter.
Now batting, number 12, Carlos Pena.
And he said, and we saw the beard of Ryan Cook and Jerry Blevins, and Sean Doolittle said, never had a beard this long in length of hair. So maybe it's a thing for the bullpen and trying to catch Josh Reddick, which they never will, because he's not going to. I don't know that he will. He's definitely not going to shave it. Maybe he won't even trim it.
First pitch strike to Carlos Pena. 2 walks and a strikeout for Pena.
Carlos played 1 year with the Chicago Cubs, 1 year in the National League after spending time in the American League, several clubs. Not a bad season in Chicago, hitting 28 home runs, 101 walks. He said, and you're talking about the Tampa Bay, he will always be grateful for the Rays to give him a chance to play and play every day and hit as well as he did.
46 home runs 1 year for the Rays. That one's hit to left field. Smith going back. He's at the wall, and we are tied. Pena goes the other way. His first home run of the year.
And that's why he hit 46 in St. Pete. Because of that, going to the opposite field. And that's simply Sean Doolittle providing the power, and Carlos Pena just put the bat on it. And that was scary because 3 fly balls in this inning. And this one, though, went far enough. Low fastball, he swung hard, and that wasn't inside out. That was simply just going opposite field. And that was scary when it left his bat.
So here is J.D. Martinez. Takes the ball. Doolittle will take that call. 1-1 the count.
It's too bad that A.J. Griffin, who did struggle but settled down the last 3 innings and left with a lead, is going to get a no decision. But he will be hopeful for a team win. Have to be late scoring for the A's.
So 1-2. And a right pass, J.D. Martinez. He has struck out for the 3rd time. So Carlos Pena, a home run, his first of the year, and we're tied at 3.
Ladies and gentlemen, tonight the A's are joining several other major league teams by showing our solidarity with
the citizens of Boston. Please join us as we play the Fenway Park favorite, Sweet Caroline.
Dealers. A's came storming back in this game. That was a big hit right there. Coco Crisp, a triple that tied the game. And then Seth Smith would give the A's the lead. A couple batters later, that was in the 5th inning. So 3-2. A's were leading, but with 2 outs in the top of the 8th inning, Carlos Pena goes the other way for a home run. And he did it off the hard-throwing Sean Doolittle. caught us off guard just a little bit.
Sure did. And Sean Doolittle, when he struck out Martinez, he showed his pleasure of giving up the home run, which is understandable.
So 3-6-0 for the Astros, 3-7-0 for the Athletics. So if the A's are going to win, they'll have to do it with some late inning magic, which they know all about. And Dallas Keuchel has done a very nice job. 2 2/3 innings for Keuchel out of the bullpen, and what he's done is he's allowed his team to tie the game. And he jumps ahead in the count 0-2 to Jed Lowrie, who will be followed by Young and then Reddick, bottom of the 8th.
Well, Brad Balfour is getting loose, and he was going to be pitching the 9th regardless. So he's hoped to have the lead, and Balfour would try to save it. Otherwise, they're trying to take it to the last at bat.
Lowrie tonight, a fly out to right, a strikeout, and he reached on a fielder's choice. So Lowrie 0 for 3, hitting .364. Just missed inside. Pena with the homer to tie it. Strike 3 called right on the outside corner. So Keuchel went inside and then outside for the strikeout. Well, just minutes ago, very nice gesture by Oakland organization. This is kind of showing their respect to the city of Boston at Fenway Park. Between the top of the 8th and the bottom of the 8th, they play Sweet Caroline at Fenway. So
Neil Diamond's favorite song. They play it in the 8th, and the fans get into it. All the sellout. Well, until just recently, it was sold out at a game, and that former Red Sox player Josh Reddick showing his support for his former team, City.
Your attention, please.
We got a pitching change at the Coliseum. We'll be back.
For Houston, number 55, Rainer Cruz.
Bottom of the 8th inning. Astros have gone to the bullpen when it's time for a change. Think Speedy Oil Change and Tune-Up. Your oil change, tune-up, and smog experts. Rainer Cruz comes in for his 9th appearance, so he's been a workhorse. This being the 14th game of the year for the Astros, so he's been in well over half of their games. Rainer Cruz.
Well, you saw him down in Houston throwing that mid-90s fastball, and he'll bump it up to mid-90s, 98 with a heater, 2 and 4 seam fastball. So if he stays with a fastball, it's exactly what hitters like, especially if it's straight.
So here's Young. Young is 1 for 3 tonight, 2 for 7 in the series. See Cruz, little 3/4. Good velocity at 94 miles an hour first strike. Tigers added 3 runs in the top of the 8th inning, so they now lead the Mariners 6-2 in the 8th inning. How about that? 3 for 3, single double homer against Cruz. Fastball comes right at him at 96 miles an hour, and Young fouled it back. So 0-2 the count with Reddick waiting in the on-deck circle.
It looks like the hitters need to turn out the notch a little bit. They're not playing these guys the same defensively because of the velocity of the fastball from Cruz.
Outside, 96 miles an hour. So you see the velocity and then the 3/4 delivery. See where Cruz can be a tough at bat for a right-handed hitter. Young reaches for it. Ray, we got an email from a fan who wanted to ask us a question. We were talking about the weather last night. This fan wanted to know when was the last rain out in Oakland. And it was even further than I thought, further back than I thought.
I remember it. What year was it, though? Right?
May 5th, 1998.
That long?
Yeah.
Wow. Seems like just yesterday.
And it wasn't. Coming in is Maxwell. He's got it. I guess we were talking about the weather, and the fan was just curious, so I thought since he made the effort to email the question in that we could answer it for him. In fact,
is it Cleveland? Who was it?
I'm not sure who it was, but it was May 5th. But there was also a rain out here at the Coliseum on April 3rd of that year. So 2 rainouts in the span of about a month in 1998. But since then,
Detroit? Yeah, saying Detroit.
Then it's Detroit. Remember last year we had a shortened game. Remember against the Royals here?
Yeah.
Game that the Royals won. So it's been a long time, 1998, since the last rainout here at the Coliseum.
You know, besides the A's front office, who's happiest about that the most? Well, the other teams that come in here, number one, but Clay Wood, head groundskeeper, they don't like to put the tarp on. One time is fine. But when it gets muddy and wet, and you have about 4 or 5 on the ground crew, not a lot down there. You just hope they can get people out of the stands to help them push it. So keep the rain away.
Well, we've had crew members, TV crew members, help out here at the Coliseum. In fact, it was last year.
Never rains in California.
They wrote a song about that.
It will rain, but usually in the offseason.
A.J. Griffin settled in and pitched well. He will not get his 3rd win of the year tonight. 2-1 to Reddick, who's 0 for 2 with a walk. He lays off a pitch that's low. 3-1.
You can see Sean Doolittle standing in front of A.J. Griffin, and I tell you, the bullpen takes a lot of pride in when they come in, especially with a lead. They want to keep the lead, and Doolittle knows that he is part of that. Part of the back end of the bullpen. He will have an inning, and he is thinking about the fastball he threw to Carlos Pena. While it was not a bad pitch, you just have to tip your hat because Carlos did a good job of going opposite field with it.
And there's a 2-out walk. So the A's have received 4 walks tonight. Remember last night they received 8 walks and 6 of them scored. So maybe a 2-out rally. Donaldson steps in. First pitch to Donaldson is a bit high.
Well, you see with that drop down delivery, I could see him do exactly what he did. Donaldson has dropped down and pushed the ball and leave it upstairs too much.
Donaldson has struck out twice and popped to short. Pretty good lead by Reddick at first, and he's inching off a little bit. And Reddick runs well and is a decent base stealer. He's not going to steal a lot of them, but
it's the element of surprise. Fastball belt high, and Josh Donaldson trying to tune it up just a little bit extra. And that Carlos Pena might be yelling at Cruz to pay attention, maybe to look over twice. You're right, Reddick. The cutout getting a foot beyond that, which is a very good lead.
He was 11 for 12 last year in steal attempt. And this would be a decent time to see if he could swipe one. One and two. Cruz is ready. So is Donaldson. Reddick goes, and he had the huge jump. Another A's base stealer that was halfway to second base before the pitch was thrown.
And that ball was eye high to Josh Donaldson. See, there's the look back to the plate. No second look to first base. Reddick had it stolen, but Donaldson swung at a pitch out of the strike zone, but I guess too close to take.
So see if Reddick does it again on 1-2.
He's thinking about it.
Well, he's been dancing just a little bit, and every time he dances, he gets a little further off first. It's like Gray when guys get afraid to get out there and get a good lead.
That's right.
Reddick certainly has a good one. Not going, and that one bends Donaldson back.
Well, the great Ricky Henderson, the all-time stolen base leader, has always said, if you're going to be a good base stealer, you have to go out and not be afraid to be picked off. And Ricky wasn't picked off that much, but he always got big leads, and his first step, he was full speed.
Reddick not going, and a pitch is inside again, and now it's a full count, and he will be moving now. So a ball in the gap. Reddick runs well. The A's have a pretty good shot to grab the lead. See if Donaldson can find a gap somewhere.
The gap would have to be a long gap, but the fact that Reddick could be running, maybe could hit the gap as the outfield playing deep.
That one's hit down the right field line, and Keel headed into foul territory. He dives. It's a fair ball, and Reddick's going to score, and the A's take the lead. Donaldson, the third. He's in there with a triple.
That had to be chalk, Kite. It had to be chalk. Just like Friday night, the home run by Josh Donaldson down the right field line. First base umpire, Clint Fagan hustling down the line. Good fastball, Donaldson down the right field line. Long run for Ankiel. Reddick on the run. And Ankiel with a headlong dive to the circuitous route. But where did it hit? That close. Just barely on the grass. No chalk necessary. And Josh Donaldson with a triple. He hit the bag hard. And that's why he's grimacing, because he did hit it hard. But what a big hit by Josh Donaldson, who was 0 for 3. Struck out a couple of times, but a huge hit. A 2-out walk. And a 2-out triple.
Here's Shane Peterson.
Sean Doolittle feels a lot better right now. Not that he's on the hook for the W, but the fact that the A's have retaken the lead.
Peterson tonight has struck out twice and grounded out. It's that 96-mile-an-hour fastball. So a 2-out walk to Reddick ends up hurting Reiner Cruz. Toward right field, Ankiel coming in. He's got it. Side retired. But the A's get a big triple. 2-out RBI triple from Donaldson to take the lead. A's 4, Astros 3. So the A's now with a 4-3 lead as we have reached the 9th inning. So Donaldson's RBI triple brings home Reddick. So another big hit for Josh Donaldson. A's with 3 triples tonight. How about that? Sogard with 1, Crisp with 1, and now Donaldson with 1. And Sogard with a single, double, and that triple tonight. So the A's 3 outs away from their 11th win. And it's going to be up to Grant Balfour. Just his 2nd save opportunity. So it'll be Ankiel, Dominguez, and Marwin Gonzalez against Balfour. Ankiel is 0 for 3, and the first pitch is a fastball a bit high. Ankiel strikes out a lot, but he does have very good power. So he is a danger at the plate, and that one over our head into the upper deck. Outfield very deep and straight away. See if Donaldson has a play headed toward the seats, and he
overran
did not catch it. He
overran
it
yep.
and then tried to leap back for it, and it fell right into the camera well.
It's not an easy play, especially with the ball coming back as much as that one did, and you have to run as hard as you can because you think it's going to be in the dugout, and then when it comes back, which it usually does with the spin of the baseball,
so the count 1-2 to Ankiel. Again fouled high, deep, well back, lower level toward the back. So Griffin for 6, Cook pitched the 7th, Doolittle pitched the 8th, and Balfour here in the 9th. Swing and a miss. He struck him out with a breaking ball.
and that is a pitch that Ankiel has trouble with. He can hit a fastball, but Griffin threw him a good curveball earlier. 2nd inning, struck him out, and Grant Balfour a much harder curveball, and he gets a big strikeout to lead off the 9th inning.
Dominguez.
So 1 out, and here's Dominguez. Dominguez is 0 for 3 tonight. Little pop up. This should be out number 2, and it is. So Dominguez is 0 for 4, and now the A's are 1 out away from a victory. The crowd gets up on its feet as Marwin Gonzalez steps in.
Marwin Gonzalez.
Our next televised game, Friday, 3:30. A's pregame live, and then the ball game soon after that. It's the A's and the Rays from Tropicana Field.
Dome.
The Dome. So make sure you join us for that again. That's Friday afternoon. First pitch right down the middle, a strike to Gonzalez.
See John Jaso give the 1 fastball first pitch. Gonzalez should have been taking a first pitch strike, which he did.
So 1-1 the count. Gonzalez doubled and scored in the 3rd. He has also struck out and hit a long fly ball to right field. One pitch. Line shot headed into the seats.
Well, but he go to the curveball that he threw to Ankiel.
Why not?
Right, as long as he throws it hard. That's the biggest plus that he has going, and that is a curveball that is thrown hard.
He goes with a fastball, a little protection swing by Gonzalez. Balfour trying for his second save of the season.
Curveball.
And he got him swinging. So a couple of strikeouts for Balfour in the 9th inning. So he has a nice clean 3-up, 3-down inning, and the A's win game 2 of the series by a final score of 4-3. So Griffin pitches very well in an 0 decision. And then the bullpen with one hiccup, the home run by Pena. The A's win it on the Donaldson triple with 2 outs in the bottom of the 8th inning. So late inning heroics again for the Athletics. It wasn't a walk-off, but it's okay. Scoring the bottom of the 8th, it's about as close to a walk-off as you're going to get. So the A's now 11-4, and they will go for the sweep tomorrow. So, Ray, they are doing what they're supposed to do against this Astros team. And I don't mean to harp on the fact that the Astros are not a very good team, but I stand by what you said. You have to beat them. Right. And if you're the team that doesn't beat them as much as you should, it's going to cost you at the end of the year in the standings. Hopefully that won't be the case for the A's.
And I think Bob Melvin said it best, that the Astros, any team that plays the Major League Baseball, any players up here, they're a good team, and they can beat you, as they did up in Seattle winning 2 out of 3. So you have to play them almost your best, because you don't think that you can just walk out and win, that you have to play. And so there's concern, but they've won the first 2, now 5 in a row against the Astros. But and this is when you have to get greedy. Tomorrow's a big game for the A's to try to finish it off, have a spectacular homestand, and take off on the road again. So tonight, definitely a big win.
So the big triple and the RBI in the bottom of the 8th belongs to Josh Donaldson, who is standing by. And Josh, congratulations on the big hit. Take us through your night, because it started out slow. A couple of strikeouts early. Tell us what was going on there, and then how did you feel in that last at bat?
You know, I mean, all night I was kind of struggling. They were making some pretty good pitches on me. You know, it was just one of those days where it kind of wasn't going my way, I felt like. And the last at bat, I just kind of came up there and, you know, with the attitude just to compete and try to help my team win the game. That's what I try to do every night. And fortunately, I was able to do that today.
Well, it's amazing that Friday night you had the walk-off, similar direction. This one just didn't make it out. But how much did it help you facing the hard-throwing Cruz the last at bat, after facing Peacock, who threw just some good fastballs with the strikeouts, but yet you got the same fastball against Cruz?
Well, with Cruz, I mean, the entire time, early in the bat, I'm sitting fastball. And the later the at-bat went, you know, he's got a pretty good slider, too, so I have that in the back of my mind as well. But all night they've been kind of pitching me away with the heater, and they struck out a couple times looking on it. So I didn't want to get beat there. You know, he knocked me down, but that's kind of one of those things where I'm getting him back in there. He's not going to get me off the plate. I'm going to dive in there, and I'm not letting him strike me out away again.
Now, we were worried about your slide at third. Are you okay? It looked like you came in a little funny, maybe twisted your ankle or something.
No, I just kind of jammed my ankle into the base a little bit. It's nothing.
All right.
You know, Josh, when you had Reddick at first base and you had a couple of strikes, which is always tough because you can't really take a pitch. You guys were running on Peacock and the Astros tonight because they were not looking the second look. When he takes off, as he did, even though the pitch was up, do you see him? Were you thinking, let him try to steal, or was the pitch too close that you had to try to make contact?
No, I saw him steal, and I wanted to hit it. So, because, I mean, if I get hit a double right there, he scores. You know, it was kind of a close pitch. It was a little up, but I know I can get on top of that pitch and try to drive it in the gap. And, you know, unfortunately, I fouled it off, but, you know, I was able to get the hit later.
And another big hit. Josh Donaldson, thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys.
Great job.
So a walk-off home run a couple nights ago, and tonight, RBI triple in the bottom of the 8th inning, and the A's win it. Second night in a row, they have beaten the Houston Astros. Final score 4-3. We'll come back to the Coliseum, Ray and I, and we'll talk a little bit more about tonight's game, and then we'll wrap it up. Stick around.